We're here to talk about demons, loot, and existential dread. Stay a while and listen. Today on
Don't listen over the intro.
don't
Maybe
don't
they should.
identify. Don't replace scroll identification over the intro.
Horadrum.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Press B to Cancel. Your favorite podcast, casting sigils and demon signs. Yeah, that's what it is.
We're eating retro
I'm
this
your host.
week.
Yeah, we are.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, sort of. We're gonna go over that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm your host, Sinistar. I'm not alone though. Joined by co-host regular Sick Jake. Sick Jake, how are you today?
Doing great. Glad it's Friday.
Yes. And we have a special guest. And the reason that Sinstress is here is because if I didn't include her on an episode talking about Diablo, I might not be married after this. Sinstress, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you. Very happy to be here talking about one of my favorite games ever made.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a legendary franchise for sure. So I'm glad we're sitting down and talking
Yes.
about it.
Yeah. So for those that haven't guessed, we're talking about Diablo. We're talking about the franchise that is Diablo. We'll probably specialize on primarily probably Diablo 2.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the one that most of us have the most experience with.
And it's the best one.
And
I
it's
also
the
got a
best
new
one.
update recently too, which I can talk a few minutes on as well. So
Yeah, that's where I was saying it's sort of retro because after 20 years, 26 years.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get there. It's fine. Well, really quick. So quick history. Diablo came out of a development group previously known as Condor. They were purchased by Blizzard. They became what's known as Blizzard North. So for everybody that saw the Blizzard North logos, that was previously a developer group called Condor. It was released in 1997. It was the mother or father, whatever the term you want, of ARPGs. I think everybody pretty well agrees on that it was kind of the first real ARPG, at least as far as they exist today.
It was, but it wasn't meant to be an ARPG originally.
No,
which is interesting.
It was going to be turn-based originally. Yeah. So
I'm glad they made that change.
As is the world.
Yes.
Well, it could have been interesting, right? Because like the first Diablo, in a lot of ways, is like a modern take on Rogue, right? Where you have procedural generation of dungeons and you have the loot. And obviously there's a lot more items in Diablo compared to Rogue, but it's neat in that regard. But a turn-based would have made sense compared to Rogue, which is like, move, then enemies move.
Yeah.
So I could have seen it, but yeah, I am certainly glad it's what is now an ARPG genre. I definitely started the genre for sure. So that's awesome.
Yep. Yeah. So I also, I referred to Diablo as a click and kill engine. Basically, like the more things that are on the screen, the more you just click your mouse.
Right.
It had 3 classes: the warrior, the rogue, and the sorcerer. And there was one expansion called Hellfire, which was done out of house. It was synergistic software.
Right.
And it introduced an additional class, the monk, but little known. With some tweaks to some underlying files, you could unlock 2 additional classes, the barbarian and the bard. What's interesting is it used the skins from the other, from the warrior and the sorcerer, I think. But yeah,
I remember those classes, but I thought they were because my memories of early Diablo was a lot of people hacking it for mods and stuff. I didn't realize those were official classes, or could have been official classes that probably just weren't finished.
Yeah.
I never really played much of Hellfire, though, but I played a crap ton of the original Diablo on my first PC, so that's interesting.
Yeah, and very much like one town and basically diving into the dungeon from that one town, which is important to note because when we get to Diablo 2, we might as well. We're going to probably talk Diablo 2 for the majority of this episode, so we might as well move on. So basically, very
Did you guys,
successful.
well, before we get into Diablo 2, did you guys have you guys both played Diablo 1 and beat Diablo 1?
Yes.
Or yes?
No.
Mhm.
Okay. No. Okay.
I have beaten
No,
it,
I
but-
was busy being a mom when that was a popular game. So no, I did not.
and I was not busy being a mom. So no, I very much played and beat the original. Don't tell my employer at the time, although they are defunct and don't exist anymore. But I played on work computers. We used to all play on work computers, and I remember very much walking into rooms and hearing that Diablo music, that somber, which is an important piece. Every Diablo basically kind of has that same somber,
Mhm.
soundtrack. The other thing of note that I was like, wait, what? The first time I ever watched the movie Demolition Man, they end up in the museum in the Hall of
Violence.
Yeah. and the font is that Diablo font.
Is it?
Which it
Oh,
is.
that's
I'm
funny.
gonna have to watch that again because I do not remember that.
And I was
the Hall of
like,
Violence, but not the font. Interesting.
I was like, wait, is that a real font or did they just rip it off? So,
Yeah.
I don't know if
My main thing with Diablo 1 is I've wanted to go back to try it just to see if it holds up. But the one thing that's keeping me away from it is how manual it was. Like you had to click on gold to pick it up. Gold, I think, was in your inventory, if I'm not wrong. There's no running, which is, as I've been playing Diablo 2 lately, even in Diablo 2, running is a pain in the butt. In the first game, there was no running at all. So it's definitely a different pace of a game for back then. So I kind of still want to go back to it, but man, it's rough.
I've played maybe an hour. There was a vacation that we went, and it was Sinistar and Brother Sin and myself, and we were going to play Diablo. And it was janky and messy. And so after about an hour, we're like, well, what else can we do? And so that's what happened.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's like the entirety of my personal experience with Diablo 1.
Yeah. And I remember like just some quick memories, at work, playing this at work. Like, dropping walls of fire and, the chain lightning and watching these effects and just being absolutely awed with these effects,
My favorite part of my memory of Diablo 1 is people would hack online and mess around, right? Because you can mess, because I think a lot of the files are local. So being in town in a random multiplayer session and someone walks in town and starts dropping walls of fire around my character, which you're not normally supposed to be able to do. And it's just like, it's just very hacked game at the time. I remember that.
Just to mess with you.
Just to mess with you. Yeah. And of the three classes, am I right in that they're basically the same, right? A warrior could still learn spells, I think. I think they just got an easier time getting strength stat or something.
It's been long enough that on that I don't remember.
I just don't remember there being a huge distinction between the classes like there was in 2 and then going forward. But it's definitely see the bones of the franchise there. But I'm glad they evolved a lot from Diablo 1.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
So we then in 2000 got what is I looking at my research today. Many sources refer to this as one of the greatest games of all time, and that is Diablo
I
2.
agree with every single one of those sources.
Yeah. So, so basically, like you get just real quick, it obviously expanded on the product that worked. It added a variety of areas, including desert zones. So instead of just diving into the dungeon underneath the town, you go to desert zones, forests. You've got different
Sewers.
Sewers. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then of course the dungeons are epic. The when you get low enough that you end up in the hell areas, they are very much based on and this was called out by the developers, based on basically the Christian kind of listings for hell, hellfire, lava, brimstone, etc. Let's see, you get additional difficulties. So now you have normal, you have nightmare, you have hell, and you get a hardcore option. So, permadeath. The item system is bigger and more complicated
for the internet back then. Lag would kill you more often than not. I hated permadeath mode. I never did hardcore.
Socketed items. In fact, that's a really cool feature, including the rune words thing, which when I first played through it, and rune words may have come with, by the way, shout out. I found one of the CDs for those listening.
Yeah.
Is that one of mine?
I don't know if it's yours or mine. So, but because I had the battle chest as well, but
I've bought that game like, I don't know, 3 or 4 times in my life because it kept disappearing.
But the rune words are really cool because you get named runes, and so these runes are things like Tal and L and Eth and etc. And when you get socketed items, you can, if you put those runes in a specific order, if you need 2, it's a 2-socketed item. If you need 3, it has to be a 3. But you can do things like Tal plus Eth equals stealth. And so it actually adds a stealth feature to an item. There's a whole bunch of these. There's 30 or 40 of these.
I never really dived into the rune words that much because the drop rate was pretty low. I mean, I love playing Diablo 2. I played a ton of it, but I never really did the grinding to get a bunch of runes. I definitely did a lot of socketing with gems. I used to use skulls all the time and trying to farm the skulls, and you can level them up. But rune words were definitely an interesting mechanic. I think that came with the expansion. Was it Throne of
Lord of Destruction?
Lord of Destruction.
Yeah.
So funny enough, one of the bosses, it's one of the female bosses, and I'm blanking on the name. Yeah. You can farm runes off of Andariel.
Oh, really?
You can just continually go back and kill Andariel, and she has a drop rate of something like 30% for runes.
Oh, shoot.
And so you can,
and she's not actually that hard as well.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just poison mostly, but I didn't realize that. Yeah.
Although you get better runes off her if you do it in Nightmare. And so she becomes a little more difficult in Nightmare, obviously. So, 5 classes this time: Amazon Necromancer, Barbarian, Sorceress. We have a female character. We actually have a couple female characters, and then Paladin. So, and then of course the expansion added the Assassin and the Druid. Assassin is my favorite class of all. I love the Assassin. I love using the claws or the
guitars.
Guitar.
Yeah.
So I used to use it. So when I first, so I feel old. My last year high school was 99, pretty much. And before the game, when the game was announced and we knew it was coming out, before we all graduated and went our separate ways, we all said, well, we're going to keep in touch and play Diablo 2. We're going to do an 8-player game. So we each were trying to pick what classes we want to do. Of course, after high school, never happened. But I did play a ton of Diablo 2.
Nice.
But for me, it was
it's a great game.
Oh, it's an awesome game. For me, it was the Necromancer, which is probably my favorite class from the entire franchise. Like the bone armor and the poison dagger. I love all that stuff. But
raising all of the things you kill.
Yes, and like blood golems and whatnot for tanking for you. Because that's a game, Diablo is a hard game solo. So it's nice to have a buddy to take the damage for you. But what I loved about Lords of Destruction was also the Assassin class. Because the Assassin class, I think, is the one that doesn't need keys to open chests.
Nope.
And then the martial art combos was really rad. So what
and
else
the
did you like
traps
about
are
it?
badass too.
The traps are cool. Are the only reason I beat Diablo in the expansion with the Assassin was traps. Everything else I tried, I just could not do it. All my combos were nothing. Diablo's resistances are super high, especially if you're playing on higher difficulty. But traps, running in circles for 45 minutes, dropping traps is how I beat Diablo. It was pretty sad on my part.
Yeah. And then, of course, the expansion also added a 5th act. So unlike the Hellfire expansion for Diablo, which was a side story, basically you went to an entirely different zone, and you couldn't even do, initially you couldn't do multiplayer in that zone, etc. Although I think that's fixed in the modern versions you can get. it added a fifth act. So it added an additional, like you basically now go through the 4 acts, you kill Diablo, and then you start on the Lord of Destruction. And that this kind of was like back when, and one of the games that Jake and I absolutely adore has this as well. That expansion, it's almost as long as the regular game. Like that fifth
it's
act
beefy.
is beefy. And Witcher, the expansions were essentially additional
those expansions
games.
are
Yeah.
They could be games themselves, very much so. And
yeah.
but that was the age of like the PC gaming used to be great back then, is because you would have these expansions that were so massive. It was not the DLC bite-sized snacks that we get today for $20. It was full-on experiences. Like, was it Baldur's Gate 2 famously has a really good expansion, right? And then so did the first game. So even Neverwinter Nights, fantastic expansions. Like back then, an expansion was really something worth the money. It was basically a whole other game, which was fantastic and cheaper usually, right? So it's good.
Yeah, unlike a $25 expansion that just gives you a class and a few things, it's fine. We might as well, really quick, let's talk a little bit about like our history and our memories, and then we'll talk about the new expansion, the new DLC. But Sinstress, you, I know, played the hell out of Diablo 2.
I did. That was that is the first game that I ever lost like a week of my life to. Like nothing else existed. I think I went to work, but then I would come home and I would play video games. And then, like I have a very specific memory when I was very, very brand new to the game. You have to kill Blood Raven, right? And that's very early on in the game. And it's like 10 o'clock at night, and I'm like, fuck, I died. Well, I'll just go get my stuff and then I'll head back. And 2 o'clock in the morning, it was 2 o'clock in the morning when I finally beat that boss. And then I was like, and I've got to work in 5 hours. Cool.
Yeah.
So, like, and I just like, I would put my kids to bed and I would just play this game, and that's what I did. And it was fantastic and I loved it. And it is up there in all of the games that I have ever played. So yeah, I love Diablo 2.
Yeah, and a little bit as a family. We need to get more into it, but we've played off and on with our youngest, who's still at home.
Also he's a big fan of the Necromancer. That's his preferred class.
Yeah. But we've been playing off and on the remastered version.
Yes.
Which is another piece we'll get to after we, How about you, Jake?
Yeah, so I mean, Necromancer was good. I liked how each of the classes, you weren't just stuck with one type of build, right? If you were a sorceress, you had three different trees in Diablo 2, right? And they're all quite different, and you use a combination of skills from all of them. But you could really have your own personal build. Like if you don't look online in the nonsense of metas and all that stuff, you could actually really make some really fun stuff. Like if I want to play a Necromancer and focus on daggers and being up front and slaughtering things along my skellies, I could totally do that. If I wanted to focus on Minion Master with the models of enemies, you could do that as well.
Yeah, so I love making a battle mage where I upped my strength more than other people probably would, so that I could like kick people in the face, because that's fun, But
and you can wear the heavier armor,
lightning,
right?
Yeah.
So. Yeah, because all of the heavier armor is based on stats instead of class.
So like that, the idea of build is pretty awesome, and there's still, even to this day, like I have a problem when I go back to play games or revisit games. I tend to play them the way I played them 20 years ago, 30 years ago. I try to stop doing that because there's different classes I haven't even touched. Like I've barely touched the Amazon. I barely played that class. Barbarian, I've only done a little bit with. So there's many classes. Druid, I haven't even touched the Druid. So there's a lot of stuff there that I haven't played or experienced. I wouldn't mind going back to try them nowadays. I love the Necro so much. But it's, for me, Diablo 2 is the game I go back to every couple of years. I'll spin it up and play it. But I usually don't finish it. I find by the time I get to the jungle, I get burnt out to a degree, because I like what it is for me was I never liked how you couldn't start the harder difficulties. I find normal is too easy or takes too long, and you don't get good loot right away. I always like playing on harder difficulties when possible. I know they added in one of the patches after release the ability to set the players to count to 8. so you can mimic an online, because the game would scale based on the number of players who are joined. So if you did set player 8, then suddenly the monster is much harder, but you got a lot more experience, more money, more items. I like playing that way, although it is much more harder to do. But that's generally what I do.
Yeah.
Like, have you guys played it recently and beat it, or do you guys kind of burn out halfway through?
I have definitely played it recently. So on Wednesdays, I play video games with Brother of Sin and 2 of my cousins. And one of my cousins always joins a little later in the evening. And so while we wait for him, sometimes we spin up Diablo 2. And my cousin that we play Diablo 2 with is one of these min-maxers of Diablo 2. Like, he's one of these guys that he's played through it. I don't know how many
he
times.
says of Diablo 2, but this is just the way the guy plays games.
Is true. But he's run us through. We've beaten normal, we've beaten nightmare. I think we've beaten nightmare 2 or 3 times because basically, like, there is almost a hockey stick of difficulty when you get to hell. And like, you say it's too easy, hell is almost too hard. And so if you don't have the right equipment, you don't have the right, it will just bowl you over. And so we are still working toward being able to play the hell difficulty. So
yeah, it's a game that kind of balances itself with the other difficulties by giving all enemies a default amount of resistance. And I don't like it either. I'm with you. It's a hockey stick, right? Because like, you could have a great build, great items, but as soon as you get to the next difficulty, everything has a flat like 20 or 30% more resistance, and you got to start from scratch. And I don't like that very much. I like the loots and gathering loot, but I don't necessarily want to like have everything invalidated within the first 5 minutes of the next difficulty. And that's gotten better over time, I think. But I do remember that. I did want to say too, the Diablo 2. One of the reasons why I think that game stuck with me so well is it's a case of Blizzard cinematics, right? Blizzard was always known as the king of FMV in video games, right? And when Diablo 2 first came out, the narration of the guy who has to follow the Wanderer, who the Wanderer is canonically the warrior from the first game, right? And you get the inter between acts of FMV is stellar. I had to go watch the intro to Act 5 from the expansion with Bale coming up to that keep. And the guards like sighs and tells him, Bale, get out of here. We stand with the light. And then Bale's like, I will consider your terms. And it's like, your terms are not acceptable, and blows them up. But like that whole cinematic scene is like movie level to me. And I used to love Blizzard cinematics. And like that carried over to like World of Warcraft, the first few from World of Warcraft, that same epic style of FMV. I was so disappointed when Blizzard kind of moved away from that to more in-game engine stuff for a while. Because like for me, like they were so good. StarCraft as well. They were so good at the cinematics, and they've kind of moved away from that. And that's a disappointing thing.
I was gonna say I remember the StarCraft cinematic where it's got the the old grizzled Marine with the the cigar, and the guy's like, what's going on? And he just points up, and there's one of the battle cruisers coming overboard or over anyway. I'm with you. Although I will say, and we haven't gotten there, but Diablo 3's cinematics were legit.
Yeah. They
were pretty. The whole Herodrum thing and all of that. So yeah.
The other thing about Diablo 2 before we move on is before Resurrected came out, the game was getting updates periodically through the years. Even though it was quite old, it was still getting updates. I know I think they had the ladder system back then. But there was so it was Blizzard North who did Diablo 2. There was a point where a few of the folks who founded Blizzard North were getting fed up with the company. I guess the company was trying to be sold to Vivendi, which Vivendi was like Embracer back then, right? Trying to scoop everybody up. And they weren't happy, so they wanted to leave. And they did leave. And there was one guy named Peter Hugh who wanted to leave with them to go on and to start another company. But he was working on an update for Diablo 2, and it ended up being 1.10 patch, which was out of nowhere when it released. I think it was 2003, I want to say. So years after the game came out. Yeah. Right? And that patch completely revamped the skill trees and added synergies. So when you took skills in one tree, it could affect skills in another one, which is pretty awesome. But it also opened up the ability to mod the game, because I was watching an interview earlier today with him and a few other folks. And he said that they looked at Warcraft 3 and StarCraft, and the whole idea of mods and official mods were a big thing and made those games really memorable for players. And Diablo never
Mhm.
really had that. There's unofficial mods for D2, but it was nothing like Warcraft 3. So they not hugely supported mods, but they took all the data for monsters and weapons and gear and stuff, and they put it in files that you can access for modding. And that actually still exists in Diablo 2 Resurrected Edition. It's a little bit more
nice.
locked down because it's Blizzard's it's going to be, but he really, before he left the company to join the rest of the founders of Blizzard North, he stuck around for several months. He said he was working 100-hour weeks to deploy this one last love letter patch to the game he really liked a
Aw.
lot before leaving, because he
Aw.
didn't want to proceed on Diablo 3. It wasn't taking, I guess, shape that they wanted, so he wanted to leave. But it's interesting to see Peter Hugh now, because he left them. He went with the other folks to start Flagship Studios, which defunct. They're the guys who did Hellgate London, which I never really did play.
Yeah.
But then they moved on to Runic Games, and they ended up making the game Torchlight, which is another ARPG that was super popular. But
I
even
love
today,
Torchlight.
and it's the guys who made Diablo 2, right?
That
But,
makes sense to me.
Yeah, but those folks now are, and I talked about it on I think last week's episode, are now working on a game called Darkhaven, which has got a Kickstarter. So it's Diablo 2 ARPG with a whole lot of cool spin to it. People should check it out. They're halfway to their goal of funding, so I would like to see people give it a shot. There's a pre-alpha demo on Steam right now, but it's the guys who made Diablo 2 and Torchlight are now making another ARPG, but it's a 3D engine and there's destructibility and stuff. It's really rad to see him 30 years later working on something like this.
I need to look at that because I do. Because Torchlight and Torchlight 2 are like, they're so good.
Yeah.
They are so good.
And Torchlight 2 actually was saved by, I think the devs saved Torchlight 2 because it was the company that, that basically I think bought Runic Games.
Yeah.
Was like, we're going to make this full of loot boxes and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And I think I may be wrong here, but I swear that the devs were like, we'll walk away.
Good for them.
And so, yeah,
I love the Easter eggs in that game. Like they're so funny and so clever, and you don't always find them. So you have to play it multiple times to find all of the different stuff, which is that's fun to me.
Yeah.
Well, definitely really cool stuff.
If we're making recommendations, Grim Dawn is another very much Diablo-like. Yeah.
You mentioned a few times. Yeah.
It's so good, Jake. It's so good.
Yeah. But Easter eggs, cow levels.
Yeah. Those I've only ever done it like once. I don't know. Have you done it a bunch of times? Like
yes.
I can't even remember how you get it in Diablo 2. How do you unlock it in Diablo 2? I know you steal the poor dude's wooden leg, right?
Yeah, it ties into Wirt's third leg. Which I don't remember exactly. I looked it up once. One of the things that they changed in the Resurrected is I think you can do the cow level more than once. I think you can trigger
but I
it
think
more
you
than
have
once.
to be on nightmare difficulty and you have to do something and then you have to do something else. I don't remember. I think that I saw it done, like one of my friends did it and I saw it, but I didn't ever actually do it myself.
Those cows are brutal.
I believe that.
Yeah. So, anyway, real quick, one of the other things that Diablo 2 introduced is the Herodric Cube, which allows you to combine items to make new items. The loot system in Diablo 2, it's funny because everything now is like looter shooters. I think it stemmed off of Diablo 2's loot system. That's a looter clicker. So...
I mean, that's why you play Diablo 2, right? Was for the constant grind and rolling of the dice to get better items and
or sets. Get sets.
Or sets. Yeah, set items are really rad, and sometimes it's really hard to get those pieces in the same difficulty. But if you can get 2 or 3 sets together, it's such a power jump for your character, and it would last you for the rest of the act, if not into the next act. So I love set items.
Yeah, I was very jealous of our son. This last week, we actually rolled up some characters just to play and mess around a little bit. And he got a set item like in the cave that you have to go, the Den of Evil. He got a set item in there, and I'm like, dude, yeah.
That's crazy.
That doesn't happen. You don't get set items that early in the game. Yeah, he
RNG
did.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay, so Resurrected, which is the remaster. Like a lot of the like a lot of the modern remasters, you can switch modes back and forth with just button clicks.
Right.
And it's very cool to look at. It's very, but they did a fantastic job of the 3D pseudo 3D models on that 2D plane. And thankfully they didn't really touch the gameplay. They did a couple quality of life things. I think they changed some of the stash mechanics.
They
I think
did,
it's
yeah.
bigger, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have multiple pages of stash where you only
Right.
had one before.
Yeah.
And there was no shared. In Remastered, you have a shared stash.
That's what it is. Yeah, because in the original Diablo 2, having mule characters was a thing, right? Just characters for the
Yes.
purpose of you would spin up an instance of Diablo 2 just to transfer characters, items to another character, which is a waste. You can also walk over gold and it instantly picks up, which I did not realize it was a still click to pick up in the old original game. So definitely much love. But there's bugs in D2, like no hit bugs and whatnot, that are they're rare and hard to run into. But they kept them in the remaster or resurrected edition because it's that. For what you said, they didn't want to mess around too much with it. It's a coat of paint and that's it. But I love how it's like 2D sprites, and it was originally 2D sprites and 3D models. And the flipping back and forth is my favorite part of that. It's just neat to see, here's my Necromancer in 3D, and here he is in 2D. And it's like 1-to-1. It's really well done.
Yeah. So, should we talk about the new DLC?
Yeah, so that is neat, I guess, because it is Diablo's 30th anniversary as a franchise as of last week. And they have a bunch of announcements coming. There's a new expansion for D4, which I can touch on later. They're also, in 2026, Blizzard does still have Diablo Immortal, which is their free-to-play mobile game. And then they also it's still going.
Okay.
And then they have Diablo 4, which is still getting expansions. And then they had Diablo 2 Resurrected Edition, which came out, I guess, was it 4 years ago, I think?
Resurrected was, I thought I wrote it down.
It probably
I think it was
I think it was like 4 years, but
I swear it was like 2021.
Yeah. Okay. So like almost five years ago makes about sense. Like, but it was not that long ago. But enough that people are like well received. I think a lot of people liked Resurrected, especially fans of Diablo 2. I know I loved it when I played it.
Oh yeah.
It was great. Yeah. But I mean, at that point, you're like, okay, it's done. Diablo 4 is out. They kind of moved on. But nope, they shadow dropped during their anniversary videos a new class for Diablo 2 Resurrected Edition, which is crazy that Diablo 2, when the original is from 2000, is getting a class like decades later. And it is the Warlock class. And I got a chance to play a little bit of it. It is it's almost a bit of all the caster characters in Diablo 2.
Okay.
It has summons. Instead of undead, it summons demons. So you can have your own goat guys and have them spawn. And you can do things have it so that when they bleed, it's acid blood, or they can attack, or all that kind of stuff. He also summoning. He also has some arcane spells, like a sorceress, like fire-based spells, do as well. But the big gimmick, I think, is that any weapon he equips, even a two-handed sword, instead of wielding it, it actually hovers in place telekinetically in front of him, and he uses that for the attacks. So he can actually wield a two-handed sword if he wants, and still have an offhand item like a shield or whatever the other items are for sorcerer characters. So it was pretty interesting. And you can teleport the attack, so you can throw your weapon at enemies, or you can throw it and teleport to it, or attack with it, or sweep attack. Like lots of moves based around it from that tree. It's a very fun class. It's very, very interesting, but it does feel like the best bits of other classes amalgamated into one. So it's interesting. There's also terror zones. So for people who like to grind the end game of D2, it gives it a little bit more variety by making one of the zones harder than normal with special items that could drop. I know they added some special things for Uber bosses in D2 back in the day. To expand on that, there is a special Uber version of the Ancients. I think they call them the Colossal Ancients, the 3 barbarians.
Colossal Ancients.
So that they do that. So there's some stuff there, but it's by and large a class. There's some quality of life stuff like a stat more. They expand on the stash tab, so they have one for gems now. So you just socket your gems into the stash. It's much more organized. It's kind of what Path of Exile does for those who played that. And then there's controller support, which is actually pretty decent as well. So they did some quality of life stuff, but it's mainly it is a class DLC, and it's $25 American,
Yeah.
which is kind of high.
Yeah.
By the way,
Yeah.
Resurrected always had. I play with controller. I play Resurrected.
Oh, is it?
with
Okay.
controller. Yeah.
So it's
So that's one of those things. That's one of those quality of life that they brought back from Diablo 3 into Resurrected.
Yes.
Yeah. And I was going to go over that when we get to Diablo 3.
Yeah,
So,
I have stuff on Diablo 3 controller support too, because that was fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it has a class. It's $25 for a class. That is very, very high. I know there's a Necromancer DLC for D3 that came out, and it was like $10, I think. And I think $10 for a class is totally fair. $25 is a stretch. The other part of this was that
it's a little bit much.
It is. This was also like a soft launch for Steam, because Diablo 2 Resurrected Edition was not on Steam before. And you can get the Warlock Edition on Steam, or they call it the Tormented Edition or something. I want to say it was $45. I think it's $40. $40 for D2 Resurrected with the Warlock is absolutely worth it. Like it's a great package.
Yeah.
$25 just for one class for those who've already bought the Resurrected Edition is a bit of a slap in the face, because these are folks who bought Resurrected 5 years ago, and this is what they're getting. I think that's a bit much. So I can't recommend it for those who already own the Resurrected Edition. But if you want a second copy to play with family or friends, or if you really want to play this on the Steam Deck, because it is Steam Deck there, right? Then you can pick it up. But like to get the full edition. The one thing that's kind of annoying though is with the Warlock, because the Warlock is a brand new class, they didn't make 2D sprites for D2. So you lock yourself out of going back to the 2D style. And that I know it's a small thing, but I like going back to the 2D artwork and to compare the two, right? I like seeing the low 800 by 600 resolution and then go into the 3D. And they lock you out of that with the Warlock character, which is kind of a bummer. But I mean, otherwise it's more D2, and I was glad to go into it. This class apparently is supposed to be also added to their mobile game, Diablo Immortal, and then they're also adding it to Diablo 4 in the next expansion. So I don't know if it's like a reusing of assets and planning and design for this class, or they're just trying to do some kind of narrative event. And because like it's neat to play these games where you played you played a Necromancer in D2, he's in D3 now, and he's also in D4. That's kind of cool to do. So I like when they bring back the old classes. Like I would love to see them bring back like the warrior, for example. There hasn't really a warrior class in the other game. I mean, there's fighting classes, but not the actual warrior. I'd like to see that design back. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's an interesting DLC. I wouldn't pay for it on its own, but if you don't own the Resurrected Edition of D2, absolutely a steal to get the whole bundle for sure.
Yeah. And they added Diablo 2 to Steam as part of this as well.
Right.
And what's fun about that is SteamDB apparently showed that there were more players in Diablo 2 on Steam than there were in Diablo 4.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's a better game.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's getting better. I can talk about it later on, but it's getting better. But I think Diablo 2 is definitely better. I honestly, I think as much as I like D3, Diablo 2 is the one I want to go back to, especially with the Resurrected Edition. If I have that ARPG itch and I don't want to play Path of Exile, D2 is the one I go back to.
So I had a really interesting experience because, when Sinistar told me that this was going to be a topic and asked if I wanted to join you here to discuss it, I was like, yeah, but it's been long enough. It's been years since I've played either of them really for any amount of time. So I went back and I pulled up 2 and I played it with my son, and it was like, this is a lot like more difficult than I remember it being, because I used to kick ass at that game. Like I was so good. I could just until I got to Duriel, and then Duriel, fuck Duriel. With everything up until that, I could just run through and just rock everything. And I just kept dying. I had a hard time playing with my son. I just kept dying. So so I was I got frustrated, and I spun up Diablo 3 on my Switch, which Sinistar actually, he got it for me when it came out for my birthday. It was wonderful. I played it on the 360 2 or 3 times, just played the whole thing through. But playing it on my Switch, My Steam Deck has spoiled me for what a good handheld system feels like and looks
Yeah.
like. Like it does. But going to 2 and then going immediately to 3, me in my old age, I actually prefer a lot of the creature comforts of 3. I hated it when I came. Well, I didn't hate it, but like I had grumbles about it because I was like, this doesn't feel like 2. This is all like cartoony comparatively. It doesn't
Yeah.
have the gritty feel of it, but like, it has auto aiming, like you just shoot and it goes, and that's kind of
Oh, that's
nice. And the
true.
mini
Yeah.
map is off to the side instead of like overlaid on the screen and making it a little bit difficult to see. So like there are a lot of creature comforts in 3. Also the inventory inventory in Diablo 2 is a clusterfuck. Like it
The
just
Tetris thing? You
is.
don't like the Tetris thing? It's
Well,
okay.
I love
especially
the Tetrising. I love the Tetrising. He hates it. I don't mind. I think it's fun to try to figure out how to make things fit and to try to hold on to everything that you're trying to hold on to.
when you get the what do they call them, it's not runes because those are what you put on the socketed items, but you
Charms?
get the charms,
Charms.
and you
Yeah.
get the large charms, and you're like, well, there goes my inventory, right?
Uh-huh.
But
Like,
sometimes you get a good one, right? One that gives you a bunch of health or a bunch of stats, and it's like it's worth keeping a
yeah,
four slots of your inventory. And
Yeah.
then sometimes you get
Yeah.
a 4-slot charm, and it's like 5% fire resistance, and you're like, "Fuck you, into the
Uh-huh.
trash you go." Right?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
But it's like you have to hold on to them until you get something better
yeah,
because, it really does help. They make a big difference, but it does screw your inventory up bad.
yeah.
So,
Well, so real quick, Diablo 3. There was
yeah.
actually originally a Diablo 3 that was being built by Blizzard North.
Yeah.
And as we know, Diablo 3 came out in 2012. Blizzard North went defunct in 2005. So they were actually working on a Diablo 3 between 2003 and 2005. And then it got scrapped. So what we got as Diablo 3 is an entirely different project and a different team.
Yeah. Apparently, there's a rivalry between
yeah.
the Blizzard North guys and the Blizzard teams in is it Irvine, California, I think it is.
Yeah.
So I guess they didn't get along or see eye to eye. So that when the folks from Blizzard North left, the founders left, eventually they just merged the two teams, and a lot of folks left again after that. Although a few stay behind and moved to Irvine, but it's kind of sad that you have two teams of the same company and they don't get along, right? Especially when they're working in such a successful franchise, right, like Diablo. And
Yeah.
I know I remember when Diablo 3 was announced, just like the hype around it, how excited people were, and then people saw the updated screenshots of the change in the style. I'm not going to say cartoony, but it's definitely a lot brighter in palette than D2 is, and it's definitely not as dark and grim as cartoony. It's different. It's not what I think people expected. It felt close to World of Warcraft than anything else, right?
Yeah.
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 No, so as I said, it's a different team that did it. Honestly, I think that they developed it. I mean, it was still PC first. Even Diablo 4 was PC first, right? But they very much wanted to make sure that it played on the consoles as well. And that honestly, to me, is the greatest benefit to D3 is the controller support is honestly fantastic.
For sure.
In fact, it added a feature you don't get in the mouse version, which is the roll dodge.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and they brought it to everything. 360, PS3 or 4, I don't remember which. And then eventually Switch. And the Switch version, I was traveling for work. I was traveling internationally for work a lot. I was on planes for 12, 13 hours at a time with my coworkers. And so my coworkers had Switches as well.
Right.
And sometimes my wife.
Occasionally, yeah.
But we would have we would have our Switches. And the very cool thing about the Switch networking is you don't have to be on Wi-Fi. You don't have to be, I mean, all you do is say just we're friends and it
talk
just
to each
connects.
other.
Yeah, it just connects. So we're playing Diablo 3 on opposite ends of the airplane, having a great time. I even enjoyed the whole seasonal thing. I even enjoyed that.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Only because once again, Diablo is so much about loot, and they changed the loot like that you can get each season, that it was interesting and it was creative, and it was like it wasn't this boring, well, we're starting you over and it's these different it's like, you can earn these sets, you can earn these, items, blah
Right.
blah blah. And
And
so
they're exclusive to this, and you can keep them
yeah,
forever after you get it. You
yeah,
just have
Yeah.
to play to get it.
yeah.
My thing with the seasons in Diablo 3, well, I don't mind the idea of encouraging you to start a new character, because that's kind of how I used to play. Just I would space out every 6 months. I would start with a new character and start from scratch. But when I looked at the time, Path of Exile was out, which is very much Diablo inspired ARPG as well. And they also had seasons, but the difference in Path of Exile is each season would have some kind of new mechanical difference, whether it's like new shrines that would spawn special mobs, or some of the later seasons got very, very different. Like one season I'll remember had a special screen where a pyramid map, and as you move through the rooms of the pyramid, you would unlock certain bonuses, and it was almost like roguelike. So like Path of Exile was doing the season thing to such an awesome degree. Diablo 3, it was kind of like, okay, there's new armor, right? It didn't hit the same buttons for me.
Diablo 3 did change, like they would make this spell will affect these things differently,
Okay.
and so they would do that. But no, you didn't get any new areas. You didn't get,
Yeah.
I mean, it was, yeah.
So Diablo 3,
Although,
oh, go ahead.
I do have to say, what's it called? Whimsyshire?
Yes.
That was
The rainbow
right?
area.
that's
It's the
the
rainbow
secret
area.
level. There's a goblin that runs around, and if you kill him, you go in, and it's like rainbows and unicorns and everything tries to kill you, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's hate unicorns. It's the unicorns from
Yes.
To Kill a Unicorn, or
Yeah.
whatever that movie is.
Or the unicorns from Cabin in the Woods, because they
Yeah.
like skewer you through into the wall, like it's this majestic unicorn that will straight up murder you. It's like that.
Yep.
Yeah, I played a ton of D3, but I never made it to Whimsyshire. Not once. I don't even remember what the requirement is to get into it, but I never did pull that off. I should try and do that.
So it was a specific loot goblin, and
Right.
on the Switch there was actually an amiibo that you could use to pop a random loot goblin, and
there-
every once in a while you would get a
The special one.
Whimsyshire loot goblin.
Was there Diablo 3 amiibos?
Yes, there were.
Of course there was. Yeah. Okay.
Of course there were.
Yeah,
I'll tell you
loot goblin was one of them.
Was it? I should look those up. I usually don't buy amiibos, but sometimes the amiibos are really cool looking. There's one for Metroid Prime 4 with Samus on a bike. I'm like, it's $40, but it looks really rad. I love Samus. My thing with the Switch version of Diablo 3, and the reason I played that version more than the PC version, and I played a lot of the PC version of D3, is the dodge was definitely part of it. I loved playing D3 with the controller, and the dodge made that game so much better. It felt more like an action game being able to dodge out of the way of attacks. And it's why when Path of Exile 2 got announced and they mentioned they were doing the dodge thing, I'm like, fuck yeah, because that's like the best part of D3. But the other part of it was the co-op. And on the Switch, you can play co-op with family. Same screen.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, on the PC, you can't. If you want to play D3 co-op, you have to get separate devices, separate accounts, paying twice. I hate that. Because on the Switch, it's just one account. It's so much better of a game. And like when we're in the age now of the Steam Deck, where it's so easy for me to dock my Steam Deck on the TV, I just want to be able to play same screen on the Steam Deck, and you can't, and that drives me nuts that Blizzard won't go back and support that. They have it in D3 on the Switch. I don't understand why they don't bring that to the PC version. It's very frustrating.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I did play co-op for a little while with Sinstress on the 360. So I think you could do 2-player. You might have been able to do up to 4. The Switch definitely had 4-player same screen co-op.
Yeah.
So
that's pretty good. Do you guys remember? Did you guys play D3 when it first came out?
No, I got Sinstress the 360 version that included the
I don't remember what the
expansion
was.
pack.
Yeah.
The
so
Reaper of Souls.
It was the ultimate edition or whatever it was called. Yeah.
Because when D3 first came out, the big thing I think at the time, and maybe one of the biggest criticisms, was the real money auction house. Yeah, you want to explain that one, because that's not even around anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
because that is why I actually said fuck that game in the first place and didn't want it. And then, it got better and he got it for me for my birthday.
yeah. So the auction, so basically what was happening is in Diablo 2, people were getting epic loot, these crazy sets, or these, this javelin of, fuck everything else or whatever. And they would go on to eBay, they would go on to other services, and they would sell them for real life money. And then basically, like, there were escrow systems set up for this that were supposed to protect you, but it was a whole nightmare. Um, and so basically Blizzard looked at that and said, let's legitimize this and let's protect this. And so even on the back of the box, it says, a auction system, or however they phrase it. And it lasted 3 years. And what's interesting is it lasted 3 years, not because it was hard to technically remove. They were worried about being sued because it was on the back of the box. And so they kept it for 3 years. But basically, you could use real life money, or you could use in-game gold. They had 2 auction houses to trade items for money. And the problem is once again, people basically looked at it and said, well, now the game's pay to play, or pay to win, pay to win. And so they basically they got enough flack. Everybody said this game's great enough, but this auction system's pissing us off. And so go ahead. You were going to say something.
Yeah, because the problem I had with the game was I had to basically ignore the auction house existed when it first came out, because the items that would drop at your level when you naturally played the game were fine, right? But when you looked at your level range in the auction house, like you said, people get the most uber powerful weapon they're selling on the auction house. I could buy an item for level 5 on the auction house that is 20 times better than whatever I'm finding in the game at level 5. It was really quite insane. And like there was ways to do it with gold. So if this was like a second or third character, then you had gold from a prior character, then maybe you could, grind up that character with auction house stuff. But it felt like it was defeating the purpose in the spirit of Diablo. Also, the idea of the real money being involved, it really didn't sit well with me, right? Like I already don't like microtransactions in games.
Yep.
But the idea that there's something like this where, like, let's be real, teenagers are playing this game, can start buying things with real money. I don't like that. I had a coworker forever ago. He made not a bunch of money, but he definitely made almost $1,000, I think he said at the time. And it was enough that when he was going to quit. So at the point when he was quitting, he's like, yeah, I just sold a bunch of stuff and cashed out in Diablo 3 at the auction house. I made a bunch of money, hundreds of dollars. I'm using it for my vacation. So like that's where it was at with, like, people were making money off it. And again, it just, I don't like that whole idea of selling items for money. I get why the market's there, and I get for some people who don't have the time to put into these games, maybe they like that as an option. But man, I'm so glad they brought it out of that game, and they haven't gone back to that system since. Like But I know that it was at that point they were owned by Activision, I believe, right? And Activision is all about those microtransactions, right? They're all about making the money. Because they have the cash cow of World of Warcraft, and they're always looking to ways to get money out of players, right? So I think when they looked at Diablo 3 and how you could make money off this thing, I'm surprised. I'm not surprised it took 3 years to kill it, because of how much money they must have been taking off the top on transactions.
Yeah. But they have gone on record and said, we would have removed it sooner, but like we basically had to get legal to sign off on this, because it is a feature listed on the back of the box.
Yeah.
So, So, but I enjoyed Diablo 3. I have definitely played through and beaten that a handful of times. Being on a plane for 12 hours, you can kind of do it in a run.
Yeah.
One other thing I really, really enjoyed about Diablo 3 that I don't feel like it was there as much in Diablo 2 is the lore. Like, it was so lore heavy. And you find books and you find journals and you get all the different, like, stories and history. And I really, really enjoyed that. Like, I love lore. I'm one of those deep dive people. I love it.
She'll go read item descriptions for the lore.
I do.
There's an author. He did a series of books based on Diablo, and it was because of Diablo 3, and it was in that time period. Like Tyrael is a excellent character for Blizzard, right? I love Tyrael,
Yeah.
and like you saw him a little bit in D2, but in D3 you get his entire backstory, and like the opening of the falling star that's Tyrael coming down. He's the fallen angel, literally. And then like the cinematic, you had the cinematics between the acts, like Diablo 2 had, with really, really cool cinematics, like the fight of Tyrael versus I forget who the other angel is, but he was a real asshole. But that whole fight, and then the reveal of Diablo at the end, with that, like all those cinematics are epic. And then you're right, you have in between that, as you're playing, you have conversations with Deckard Cain and with Leah and Adria, I think, the witch from the second game. She's in it as well. So like I love that as well, and I'm glad they kept that spirit as well too. But yeah, lore wise, story wise, only got better from D2. As much as I love D2, I think more gameplay wise, I definitely appreciate the story and the world building for 3. I just wish it was a little bit darker in tone. That's all.
Yes, that is exactly how I feel about it. I agree 100%.
So that I think kind of can transition us into Diablo 4. I think there's only one of us that's played Diablo 4 here.
Yeah,
I played maybe like an hour. They had a free weekend, and I managed to find like an hour, and it just I don't feel like I played enough to really get a good feel for it. I enjoyed what I played, but it wasn't that much.
It definitely looks darker than Diablo 3.
Yeah.
The opening cinematic is definitely R-rated, put it that way. It is definitely darker and more violent in tone. Like whereas I could play Diablo 3 with my girls, cannot play Diablo 4 with kids. There's just no way in hell. Literally.
Really quick, I want to go back because we were talking cinematics, and it made me have a trigger memory. One of the very first things I remember from Diablo 1 in 97, 96, 97 was there are people hanging from a tree. Like in that first cinematic, I'm like, holy shit. Anyway, sorry. So Diablo
it's also like a bloody game. Is it the butcher that you kill in Diablo 1? And I know he's like this tall and he's very pixelated, but I think you disembowel him or chop his head off or something. I seem to be
in his whole
bloody game.
Also, a butcher. Well, I think there's actually a butcher in 2 and 3, and that's one of the things. Like my kids would sneak up and watch me while I was playing Diablo 2, and like even though it's very pixelated, like that is a gory game.
Yeah,
like you get down and you've got the rack, and you've got people that are torn apart and pieces everywhere, and like I love that because I am and have always been a horror junkie. Anyone who knows me knows this about me. Like that is my jam. You
should see
the harem, and it's like women that are just torn apart, and I'm like, it just
you should see our basement.
Yeah,
you should see our basement.
Well, like, and D3 has a little bit of that in later acts. I think there's the one act where you have the lust demon or whatever, and there's some bondage gear that felt a bit out of place compared to the first few acts, which are very, I mean, like, again, I won't say cartoony, but it's kind of cartoony compared to the previous games. So, but it's definitely a different tone and not as graphic. But
okay,
Diablo
so
3.
4.
So Diablo 4. I had to ask why you didn't get into it, but a day or two on a free weekend is not enough to kind of get a take on the game. I initially did not like it when it first came out, and I regretted buying it when it first came out. And there's a couple of reasons why.
I remember that.
The main thing with Diablo 3 that I liked was that the online play. It was so easy to hop on to Diablo 3 and play with friends, or hop on online and play with randos. I would hop on random because they by the end of Reaper of Souls, you unlock like an adventure mode, which is more like random quests every day. I love playing that just for random killing time, and you could do online groups very easily. Diablo 4 was an always online game, but felt very lonely. That is why
I didn't buy it right off the bat.
Yeah, and you didn't necessarily to find groups. I think you had to go out of your way to find them on a friends list or something. It was not as easy as D3 was. You would see other players because the world map of D4 is static. It's huge, it's massive, but it's static. And there are certain areas of the map where there's world bosses, much like MMOs, right? And when you go to those world area bosses, that's where you'd see other players or versions of players congregate there for world bosses. So you could have like 30, 40 people on screen at once killing a big world boss. It's cool, but it's a static map and it's the same world bosses, and it gets very tiresome. And half the time I just want to do dungeons with randos, right? Like I didn't have anybody else friend-wise who played D4. Everybody was playing Path of Exile. So if you have friends on your list on BNet, then maybe you can play D4. But otherwise, it feels like a very solo game, and I didn't like that. The other part of it is the lack of procedural generation. Like I said, the world map is very static, but even the dungeons themselves, I think it's better now. But when it first came out, it felt like there's only a handful of the same bosses or the same layouts of dungeons, and it's like a ladder system. Like you enter a dungeon, and it'd be kill X of this, or collect X essence, or go hit these switches. But it was the same 3 or 4 formulas, and then it would unlock the next layer of the dungeon, and then you have a small boss. And they were all like that. And it didn't feel different enough. And like because of the switch of graphic style from cartoony D3 to more of a serious tone, which is fine, but I felt like those bosses, it was hard to make out what was unique about them. Like Diablo 3 bosses were huge and epic. Like when you fight Mephisto, I think in that one. Who's the one where you're in Luke Golin, I think, and he just takes up the entire screen. The thing changes. He's massive. Like they're very.
He's on like one side of it, right?
Yeah, and he takes up the whole thing. Yeah. Or like the Butcher. Yeah. The Butcher in Diablo 3 is an epic fight. He's massive. He's throwing a hook around the flames. Very cool set pieces. Diablo 4 is much more subdued. You have those big world bosses. They look cool, but they don't feel as impactful as the ones in D3, and I felt that was annoying. So there's a lot I didn't like. I also didn't like how the skill tree system. I love Diablo 2 because the build diversity, the how you could really change a build.
Yeah.
Diablo 3 even had that with the ability to modify skills. D4 has a little bit of that, but it still felt like there was an optimal way to build my character, and it felt like I was being pigeonholed into a build. I didn't like it. Now that changed. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Just real quick.
Go ahead. Yeah.
One thing I did want to say about Diablo 3 is like I feel like it ended perfectly.
Yeah.
Like it came full circle and it was beautiful, and I'm very glad to have experienced that because that was really cool.
Like Tyrael going up to join the angels as the one representative of mankind, like that's an excellent ending. Like I didn't even need Reapers of Souls, to be honest. Like they could have skipped that expansion entirely and it would have been fine. Whereas Diablo 4, because Diablo 4 story is okay, but it doesn't end at the end of the game. It's a cliffhanger. It's basically you're spending the whole time like you don't fight Diablo at the end. The monster you fight is it's Mephisto, I think it is.
Okay.
So you don't really fight him. It's kind of a cliffhanger. It leaves you hanging. And then there's a second expansion came out, and even that expansion, as cool as that new class was, it adds a Jaguar class, it was like an Aztec themed class. Very cool class.
Okay.
It allows you to do a lot more dodging, which is what I loved. So I love that class. But the story, again, you still don't defeat a Mephisto by the end of it. So the story's not done. There's an expansion coming out this year. I think it's Lord of Hatred, I think is the name of it. And in that one, I think finally you get to kill Mephisto. So like they don't finish the story is my big beef. Like it doesn't, and
that's
years
annoying.
of expansions, and it's annoying. I don't like it.
Yeah.
So
that's kind of. I mean, there are a couple of things that break from the tradition of the franchise, which is procedural, because everything to this point has been procedural. Now, sure, in Diablo 2. People realize that if an exit faces this way, or if an entrance to a dungeon faces this way, the exit's going to face a very specific way. So it's likely in a corner here or whatever, and you can game that a little bit. But everything in between is all procedural. But the other thing is you
Just
still
go
kill
left. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
you still kill Diablo,
but you still kill Diablo, and then the expansions give you people like Baal and Mephisto, and it's like, but you still kill Diablo because the fucking game is called Diablo.
I think Mephisto, you kill Mephisto in the jungle in Act 3 before you.
I can't remember what the final in the expansion was in Diablo 3, but in Diablo 2 the expansion was Baal. You killed Baal.
Yeah, and in D3 it was like a fallen angel. I can't remember the name of the angel, but he's like humanity needs to be just wiped out, right? That was the whole thing.
He was a dick. He was totally a dick.
Yeah. So I mean, the world of Diablo is very, very depressing, right?
Have you watched Supernatural? Because all the angels are dicks.
I haven't seen that show, but I've heard bits.
All the angels are dicks.
Yeah.
The first 5 seasons of Supernatural are pretty great.
Yeah.
Which is as long as the show was supposed to last. It's 15 seasons.
Is it? Oh, I watched through 8.
15 seasons.
15 seasons.
Yeah,
That's a bit
but
much.
the
Yeah.
creator mapped out a story for the first 5 seasons, and they're
Yeah.
beautiful. And then after that, it's kind of hit and miss.
Yeah, it's like Stargate
Yeah.
SG-1. I love Stargate SG-1, but it hit the last couple seasons they didn't think they would have. So it's a completely
Hmm.
different alien race, completely different story, and it's kind of lost its charm for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So Diablo
Diablo
4,
4, you
yeah,
don't kill Diablo in a Diablo game.
no, it's like I assume at some point they were going to bring Diablo into it. So I thought the expansion would be Diablo, but no, I it's been a while since I played through the base game, so I could be wrong, but I don't think they even give you a hint about Diablo. It's all Mephisto, which like is if that was the end boss of the first game, then fine. But they have
But
multiple
no.
expansions. So the new expansion coming out, I'm trying to avoid giving Microsoft and Blizzard money, but the upcoming expansion, instead of just one character class and landmass, it's actually 2 character classes. The Warlock now, but also they're bringing back the Paladin, which I did like the Paladin,
Oh,
and also a big
Paladin's a
chunk of
great class.
and a bunch of land and story, and hopefully to finish off the story of D4, or at least have an arc finish, right? So I think for that reason, I
yeah.
might pick up the expansion to play it, depending on how much it is. I don't want to spend $80 on an expansion, but
Right.
Blizzard's been
Yeah.
kind of weird lately, because that was the thing with this, is that this is a company that before they got bought by Microsoft, I think they're still owned by Activision when D4 first came out, and like it shows with the microtransactions. Like there's a cosmetics store. It's fucking Diablo. It's top down. You can barely see your character, but they want you. You can spend $29.99 to buy a sorceress outfit that you barely see. Like the cosmetic store is wild. Like it's bad.
Look at these amazing
Yeah.
boots.
Yeah. No, literally that's what it is, right? Sets and stuff. And
Yeah.
it's because like I look at Path of Exile 2, I keep bringing that up, but Path of Exile 2,
Yeah.
there are cosmetics that can affect like the look of spells and stuff. That's cool. At least you can see the difference. But D4 you can't see, or D3 you couldn't see a damn thing. D4 you can't see anything either. It's just weird. The microtransactions is too much for a game like this. Like I understand they want to make money and they want games
Yeah.
as a service, they want MMOs, but it's Diablo. Like it's just not the perspective of it. Like if I could go first
Yeah.
person or something, or close behind the shoulder, third person, then maybe. So yeah, but D4 is definitely better now than it was when it first came out. I did go back to it recently. They revamped the whole item system, so it's a lot less spreadsheet looking. I like stats are a little bit clearer to read, a little bit easier to understand, much more like D2 was. I do like one of the things they did really well in this one was in Diablo 3 and Diablo 2, unique items were always like the big things you wanted for your character, right? They usually had
Yes.
extra bonus that you didn't get on magic items or rare items. They were special to that item. They were unique. Diablo 4 kind of has the gameplay loop of you want to find those unique items like prefixes, and then you can yoink them off the item and store them, and you can level them up and make the ranges on those stats better, and then apply it to other items. That's the end game for D4. That's a really cool system. So then
That
it
is
becomes
cool.
well, I want to explore the world map because all the dungeons on the world map have uniques, and it tells you which one's for which class. So I know that this cave will have a barbarian thing. This one has a ranger thing, or not ranger, but druid thing.
Yeah.
So you would have a reason to go to them. Yeah, and it's cool. And that system is really good, and they've made it better over time. So D4 is much better now than it was at release. The story was really dry. The cinematic in the beginning is neat, but it's nothing like D3 at all. Like the D3
Okay.
cinematics are so epic, and the set piece is so much better. D4 is dull. So maybe that changes with the expansion, though.
I remember
with what you said, when we are finished here, I'm going to go look up the intro cinematic for D4 because I want to see what this R-rated cinematic is.
Yeah. So speaking of cinematics, when we first got Sinstress Diablo 3 on the Xbox 360, I would nap on the couch while she was playing it, and I would wake up to these just epic cinematics that were going on.
Yeah.
Because Diablo 3 is full of them. Yeah. It is like it's almost like between like every level. It's almost that level. Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Pretty great.
But yeah, it's a really good franchise. Like even though the people who worked on D2, as much as I like it, and they've long since moved on, and it's different teams, and Blizzard is very much a different company now under Microsoft than they were under Activision.
Yeah.
It's definitely changed a lot. But 30 years of Diablo is crazy to think about. To think of a game that I played when I was leaving high school, and now I have 3 kids and I'm still playing the franchise is nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For sure.
And the fact is even if the, say the graphics or whatever are dated, the gameplay is not. I read a review on Diablo that basically the reviewer said this is going to be the game to clone. Like we had the FPS era, and now we're going to have the Diablo era, or the ARPG era, right? And we've had a lot of them, and they're great. And there are some that definitely are at that tier. Torchlight was at that tier. Grim Dawn that we talked about. We've tried a few others. There was a Van Helsing game that was okay.
It was okay.
It was okay. Titan
Grim
Quest.
Dawn, I really, Jake, I would ask you to really consider picking up Grim Dawn, because it is Diablo, but Lovecraftian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I own it. It's because of Steam.
You need
right?
to play it then.
It's a Steam backlog problem I have. There was a few other ones. There was Last Epic.
Titan Quest. Yeah. Well, Titan Quest was also, yeah.
Yeah, Last Epic I tried because they said it was fun on the Steam Deck, but when I tried the Steam Deck at the time, it was really buggy, so I dropped it. I think I still have that one. Path of Exile is the one I go back to all the time. It's free to play. There's so much content in that first game, especially now compared to when it first came out. The first Path of Exile has like 12 acts. It's also lore heavy with books and narration. You learn about the native tribe that used to be on the island, and it's got hints of Australia in there. It's really great. It has a skill system where you socket gems to modify your skills. Path of Exile 2 is currently, you have to pay for it in early access, but when it goes 1.0, it's going to be free to play as well. And I love Path of Exile 2, even though it's not complete yet. There is a lot of content there. The classes are fun. The tech tree is, you have to see the tech tree to believe it. It's wild, but it's also really great gameplay wise. Like the dodging, to me, like a top-down game, especially when you're using a controller, but you have to dodge out the way of attacks. It just has a really epic feeling as you're dodging the boss using your attacks, and the additional customization of skills is really great. Path of Exile 2 is fantastic. I understand people don't want to pay for it in early access. Totally get it. But when that game goes 1.0, people need to check it out. It'll be free. But it's if you like Diablo 2, Path of Exile 2, I think, is the next best thing in terms of like where it goes from there. Like spiritual successor.
And I would argue Grim Dawn
Same idea. Yeah.
is at that tier. It's and that game is gritty and dark. Like it is super dark. So
I think after Diablo 3, I think there's a lot of studios saw that and they're like, well, no, that's not Diablo. It's supposed to be darker.
No, that's how I felt about the game when I first got it and played it, and it was enjoyable, but I was like, it doesn't really feel like a Diablo game, and it just the way that it carried itself forward, though, I think it really does fit itself into that.
Well, real quick, I want to call out in Sinstress's background is a commissioned work from a former podcast.
Pulse,
Pulse made that, yep.
Pulse made that, and
I came from the hospital, and that was waiting for me. I was very happy.
Yeah. He even carved like the edges in and burned those so that it looks like it. Yeah,
it's pretty epic. Yeah.
So,
Diablo 2 had a real style to it, and like it's a game that it's pretty. Yeah, he did an amazing job. He's really great. I have another piece of his that's awesome. Diablo 2 has a style, and it's so easy to play it now. The Resurrected Edition is totally worth picking up and to play. And you can use a controller for those who want to use controller and play on the TV, or you can go play it with mouse and keyboard like it's meant to be. It's one of those things where I kind of wish they would do a resurrected edition of the first game, just add running.
Oh, for sure.
But I would like to see the
I
same
would
treatment.
love to play the first game and have that experience. It's just we tried it and it just didn't work right, so we found other things to do.
It's old school hard.
Yeah, it's brutal. It's not a game you're meant to, I think, beat Diablo easily, right?
No,
I remember, I think I did it once, if I'm honest. Like it was not very often, and you definitely have to cheese all the spells so to do it.
Cheese is a valid strategy. I will always say that.
Yeah.
I think part of the
Not
drive
cheating
for
if the
me,
game lets you do it.
yeah,
it's not cheating if it's in there. That's true.
I think the drive for me, and part of the reason I beat the first Diablo way back in the day was, as I said, we were playing it at work, and everybody would spit it up, and so it was almost a competition to see who could get through the game as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
You know, and so we
Speed
would
running
charge
before that
the,
was the
yeah,
thing.
yeah, pretty much.
I don't remember how many levels were in Diablo 1. Was it that long
I
a
don't
game?
remember.
I have to go look it up.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, any other thoughts? We're not going to talk Diablo Immortal. None of us, I think, have really played it.
I tried it just because I have a phone, and that was the thing. It's fine, but I mean, I don't like playing games like that on my phone. Like there's no controller, right? Like there's no mouse, so why am I playing Diablo on my phone? But it works. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah, and we've made some recommendations for other games if you're interested in trying something else out. Any other thoughts?
There was a really cool PlayStation port of the first Diablo game. When we're talking console Diablo, my first experience was playing on PC, but I rented the PS version the one time just to try it. Surprisingly good. Surprisingly good. So if anybody's having issues trying to play like the old GOG version or something, then check out the PS1 version just to see what the graphic style is like and the running. It's interesting.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
Great franchise. 30 years is a big milestone for Diablo. Like I didn't realize it was so long quick. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Sinstress, thank you for joining us. Thank you for reminiscing about this amazing series of games.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to have an outlet because I can talk about this game a lot. Diablo 2 in particular, Diablo 3, quite a bit too, but it's good to have this. So thank you for having me on here. I appreciate it.
No, it's great to have you on. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And we do have a little bit of housekeeping. So we have a Patreon, patreon.com/pressb to cancel. And if you can join, we'd love to have it. We do appreciate anybody that helps us out. And we have a couple tiers that we shout people out. So Cthusiast Jeff and
Von Beardley.
Von
Beardley.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Von.
Yeah. And you get some special things. We have a behind the scenes channel in our Discord. You get a different color on our Discord, et cetera, et cetera. Once again, though, it's not necessary. We just appreciate anybody that does it. Let's see. You can find our information at pressbtocancel.com or pressb.org, and come join our Discord. Tell us how we're wrong. Tell us how you appreciate these games. All that stuff.
Or if you hate them.
Or if you hate them.
there too. Yeah.
That's good to know. Oh, I have one thing to shout out real quick. It is, if you're watching this on YouTube or Twitch, or if you're listening Monday, they might still be around. Steam Next Fest is going on right now, and there's tons of demos. And I know it can be hard to try to sift through the wave of crap that's in the demo store half the time. A lot of it's AI slop this time, unfortunately. But there are some great gems in there. I did do a video here on our channels. Check that out. I played through a few, including Vampire Crawlers, which is that Vampire Survivors sequel. But also there's a game in the spirit of Star Fox 64, Wild Blue Skies. That's awesome.
Yep.
Loot Horde, I believe, which definitely has some inspiration from Diablo with the Tetrising of inventory.
Yeah.
But is a roguelike game, turn-based. It's interesting. A lot of great stuff in Next Fest this time. Titanium Court is excellent if you can get past the intro. So be sure to check out that video. And if anybody else has played any demos on Steam Next Fest, let me know what's good, because I'm always looking to see what the next new indie game that'll be. We should have on our radar for sure.
Yep. Yeah. Well, we appreciate everybody, and check us out on our audio wherever you find your podcasts. Of course, we're YouTube. We do stream on Twitch on Fridays. Yeah. So this has been another Press B to Cancel.